Welcome back to World Drum Club, everyone. I'm Kalani, your host and teacher, and in this video we're going to be taking a quick look at the difference between samba, which is what you're seeing right now, actually batucada, and salsa. And I know samba and salsa are names that many of you have heard, but you may not know which countries they're from and what instruments are played and how they're musically different. So we're going to take a quick look. This is not an in-depth video into samba or salsa, just an introduction to clear up what they are in a really basic way. So let's look. Right now we're seeing a bunch of drummers. So this is the drum section of the heart of the Samba Band. This would be typical in the streets of Rio during Carnival, actually all over Brazil. We're going to see some other dancers in a minute, but that guy's enjoying himself, certainly. But I want you to look at the kinds of drums. We see drums that are like snare drums. We see drums that are like bass drums. We see the leader here with a whistle or apito. He's got a drum called a repenique, which is kind of similar to a snare drum, but that repenique does not have snares on it. Most of these come from marching percussion. So the bass drums, tenor drums, and snare drums that would have been used in the military bands. But we also, if you look carefully here and there, you can see other types of hand percussion. He's got a bottle of water. We'll see some shakers, and we're gonna look at another group in a minute, and we'll see more different kinds of handheld percussion. But basically, this is looking at the drums. But there's some jingle, shakers. You'll see some bells as well, agogo, and there's some very small drums called tamborims. So this is one group. I'm going to let you listen to the rhythm and just listen for the two feel, the marching quality. You notice the leader right there just did a cue, and then they went into a fast rhythm. Now he's got a hand drum, that's called a chimbao. So you'll see a drum that looks like a cone-shaped drum and played with the hands. That's a typical Brazilian drum. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so this is a nice community group. Also want you to notice all of the people around there, the children, older adults, everybody from the community showing up. And this is how, kids learn about music, is just about being out in the community and experiencing music growing up. So that by the time they get into school and play the music, they already know what it is, what it sounds like. All right, there they go. It looks like they're leaving. We're going to go on to watch another group. Okay, here's another group. Looks like it could be from the same festival, but these guys have a little bit more of the hand percussion. Notice a similar format, though. But see the very small drums in the front row there? Those are called tamborims. And most of these instruments are unique to Brazilian percussion, to the bateria, the percussion section. So the snare drum, there's the agogo, the bells, two bells connected together. Surdus, the big drums, and there's I believe those are shokayu. And the apito, the whistle, giving cues. All right, so complex breaks. They've memorized. This is all music that's, of course, they've been rehearsing, and they've got all their moves. All right, so we're going to move on, and I'll show you a little bit more of samba that would be more like carnival style. Okay, here we are at a carnival style performance / competition. Hundreds of musicians in these groups. That guy's got some surdu moves. Lots of drums in each section. The caixa, the snare drums, the surdu, bass drums. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So one of the big differences between samba and salsa is samba, you can have hundreds of musicians in the rhythm section. Many musicians on each type of drum, whereas in salsa you'll see that that's usually not the case. And of course different drums, different music. And of course we're still in Brazil. All right, let's move on and see one more example of samba before we move on to the salsa style. This must be the drum cam. Really fancy costumes though, amazing. So this is one of the baterias. Takes a lot to keep this coordinated. You can see these guys giving some conducting, different sections coming up. But if you look off to the upper left, you can see the audience. So playing breaks. You can see just how many musicians are in this. Okay, so this is all the bateria, right? Just the percussion part. And of course, samba can include other instruments as well, and often samba dancers, but right now we're just focusing on the drum parts. High energy, very dance-oriented. All right, so these are all examples of samba, bateria, Brazil. We're going to move on now and look at some examples of salsa. Okay, let's look at one of the queens of salsa, Celia Cruz, singing Guantanamera. And there's Tito Puente in the background. So you guys know Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, right? So now salsa, of course, is a style of Afro-Cuban based music, really popularized by a lot of the Puerto Rican musicians and American, musicians that came to America, the United States, and they coined the term salsa, which is more like Latin jazz. Big band with the Afro-Cuban percussion instruments. Was that Sheila E? Kind of looked like it could have been Sheila. So timbales over here, which came from the timpani, and there'll be a conga player, güiro, which is the scraper, maracas, claves, cowbell. So I'll find another example where we can look at the instruments more. But you see, salsa is one musician per percussion instrument, and then of course it's a whole band with piano, bass. It's a lot more like dance hall style music, and of course horn section. Okay, here's another example of a salsa band, and I like this recording. It's very typical band. You see the three main percussion, the drums, the bongos, bongo player there, and you'll see the conga player over here, timbale player here. And that's super typical. The only thing we're not seeing in this band right now is somebody playing the güiro, which is the gourd scraper, maracas, which everybody knows, and sometimes there's just somebody playing cowbell as well. But usually the bongo player will pick up the cowbell at some point and play. Now, salsa, is a style of Latin jazz. So we really think of that as like Puerto Rico, Cuba, and the U.S. New York, Miami. More of an urban style of music for clubs, for dancing. Let's move ahead. See a little bit of percussion. There's some conga and timbale soloing. we're going to move on. I'm going to see if I can find some examples of the smaller hand percussion instruments. Here's an example put out by Latin Percussion. And this is the güiro I was talking about here. Here's some maracas. And of course, congas, timbales. So this is super typical for salsa. Now this bongo player is using a stand, doing his bongo solo. So super different instruments from samba, right? And usually one player per drum. We're not playing in sections. Completely different geography, right? Different style of music altogether. So I know a lot of you know that, samba and salsa are different, but this video is really for those of you who may have heard the names. Samba, salsa, you're not really sure where they're from, not sure what makes them different. So now you know. Very different instrumentation, different rhythms, different feel, both for dancing. All right. Excellent. So go listen. If you're not familiar with these styles of music, go out and, listen to more. You're on YouTube right now, so search for samba, search for salsa, and enjoy learning about both of these genres. I'm Kalani Das. This is World Drum Club, and I want to thank all the people who made all the videos that I used in today's compilation and comparison video. I'll see you all in a future lesson. Thanks for watching.